This podcast is intended for adults 18 years and older. It contains explicit language and sexual situations. All thoughts and opinions expressed are of our own and not of those of any specific group, employer, or individual, and is not intended to take as professional advice.
Welcome to the Foreplay Podcast. Join the journey, experiences, and sexual adventures of two high school sweethearts navigating through the swinging lifestyle as millennials. Come along for the ride. Dare to play.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Foreplay channel. I'm Bella.
I'm Jase.
Today's episode is all about the differences between Bliss Cruise February sailing, April sailing, and November sailing.
What we are going to do is try to break down the major differences. We're not going to go through of every detail of what every cruise is like. We're going to be talking about some of the things that are very, very similar, but really try to go into what the differences are. And we'd highly recommend to watch our other videos of a Bliss April review or November review or February review if you want really specifics on that one sailing. But hopefully this will give you an idea and a comparison of an overall view to maybe help decide which one would be best for you. And then you can go more into details after kind of hearing this.
Before we get into the episode, if our content helps you out at all and you'd like to help support the channel and help us be able to continue to make content like this to help others on their lifestyle journey, we'd greatly appreciate if you'd consider booking your future vacations through our links at foreplay.com/cruise or foreplay.com/travel. It's completely free to you. It helps us out a ton. Again, it just helps us be able to continue to do this.
We do go on all of the Bliss cruises, and for all those cruises, anyone who books through us, we do a group dinner, we do a meetup just so people can kind of get to know everybody, make some of those connections. It's all optional. You do not have to come to these things, but we just like to try to provide a space to make some of the connections before these vacations. We've got some free swag, and it's just a fun way to meet some friends. But if you guys do want more information and like to come as part of a group, we'd love to have you come with us. You can go to foreplay.com/cruise to get more information. And with Bliss, one thing we always recommend is booking early. Bliss sells out really quickly. It is March of 2026 as of recording this, and November sailing is already sold out. And that's almost 7,000 people on the ship. So we highly recommend booking Bliss early if you are trying to get either specific cabin types, or even if you just want to guarantee that you're going to go on one of these vacations, we definitely recommend booking early.
The biggest difference is going to be the length. February sailings are 4 nights, April sailings are 5 to 6 nights, and November sailings are 6 to 7 nights, usually 7 nights.
So with length, the one thing to note is you are going to get that Bliss Cruise feeling, whether it's 4 nights or 7 nights. You're definitely going to have that same vacation feel. One of the biggest differences for us is in that February sailing, with it being a little bit shorter, we still made a lot of connections. We still had so much fun. But for us personally, we wish we had a little bit more time. We felt like there was so many connections that we wanted to make. We kind of had to prioritize, hey, we're going to do this one and this one and this one and try to make these connections, but just didn't have time for all of it. We did talk to a lot of people who said that 4-night sailing is perfect for them. Maybe they cannot be away from home that long. Another thing to think about is if you are newer to sailing, or maybe you don't know if you're going to like spicy cruises, doing a 4-night cruise is perfect. It's called the Sexy Sampler for a reason. It truly gives you a sample of what Bliss Cruise is like and gives you that feeling of, hey, this really is for us, or maybe this isn't our vibe. Most people that we met absolutely loved it and either said this is perfect because we don't have that much time, or hey, I want even more. So that's one thing to know about the February sailing. It's quicker, but you're going to get the Bliss Cruise feeling. That November and April sailing, those night differences can make a big difference as well. If it's a 5-night sailing, it's also going to feel a tiny bit quicker, whereas that full week on November to us makes the biggest difference because you have a lot of time to really make those connections, continue to build those connections throughout that week. And this also is going to vary from person to person, but just knowing if you are on a longer sailing, it gives you a little bit more of a time to get into that lifestyle mindset. We know that coming from a vanilla space into a lifestyle vacation, sometimes it can take a couple days for people to decompress, kind of get fully relaxed, get off of that vanilla type. We've heard people say that mom and dad life into this swinger world where they just feel like they completely let go. So when you have more time, it also allows you to do that. But on those shorter cruises, we feel like it just felt like an accelerated version. Like somehow everyone on that cruise, to us anyway, seemed to get into that mindset quicker. And so I said, that's why you're going to get that Bliss Cruise experience with all of them. But the other thing to note with the different sailings of the year, we've also noticed that you have people that go on all the Bliss Cruises, but we've also noticed that whenever you kind of go on the same one over and over every year, you'll make these friend groups, and those people tend to go over and over. So like Bliss November, I feel like we see a lot of people every November, or April, you see a lot of people every April. And so that's another thing to think about is, trying out the different ones, but then as you go over and over and maybe you go repeatedly, you're going to have those different friends on different cruises, which also is a really awesome thing about Bliss Cruise.
We do love that there are different options throughout the year in those 3 different months, because maybe we do have friends who know that they can never go on the April one because their job doesn't allow them to. They're very busy during that April season, so they know that they have to go on the November one. So that also goes kind of hand in hand with Jase was just saying, how you're going to see some familiar faces who frequent a specific sailing because that's what allows them to, that's what like life allows them to go on.
And I also love that they are those different links. As much as I love a 7-night sailing, I love that they're different links because they all kind of give a slightly different feel, and it really gives everybody an option. Like what Bella said, the different times of year, having the different links also gives everybody an option if maybe you want a shorter or a longer trip as well.
When it comes to size of the ship, the fall sailings or the longer sailings typically tend to be the largest sailings. So you won't see a Wonder of the Seas sailing in February. It'll be a 7-night cruise. So the 6,500 people sailings are going to be in the fall, and the spring sailings and the February sailing is going to typically have a smaller amount of people. It's always going to vary depending on the sailing, but typically February has the smallest ship, or like about 2,000-ish people, and then the April sailing will have 2,000 to 3,000 people, and then the November sailing will have 3,500 up to 6,000. So everything is just going to depend. Just make sure to check out our website and see what the ship is. That way you're able to see how many people or how big the ship is going to be for that specific sailing.
And with Bliss, the other thing that is the one similarity about the ships is that they're always on Royal Caribbean ships or they are on Celebrity ships, which are both an amazing cruise line. And with the size of those ships and those sailing links, it actually really works to your advantage, we feel like. With February being a little bit shorter, having a smaller ship doesn't feel too overwhelming. If you had 6,000 people in only 4 days, we feel like it would feel like almost too overwhelming. But you have 7 nights for those 6,000 people ships, which feels much more, I don't know if doable is the word, but it just feels like it makes sense. And so we feel like that amount of people for that amount of time on those sailings really works to everyone's advantage. So demographic is going to be pretty similar throughout all the sailings. You have that 45 to 55 being the largest demographic with a bell curve. So people younger than that, people older than that. And that's gonna be pretty typical. The one thing we did notice on the February sailing, it seemed to us that the 40 and under group was a much larger crowd for the size that you have. So if you have 7,000 people, you're gonna have a lot of people from every single age range. But we noticed that on that February sailing, it tended to be a little bit younger as an overall population. That could be because it's a shorter sailing, it is a lower price point, but that is the one biggest demographic difference we noticed, is that February kind of had a little bit younger of a sailing, but you are going to get that bell curve on every single sailing. You are also going to see a lot of people who are newer in their lifestyle journey on every single one of these cruises. It is an awesome cruise for people who are new in their lifestyle journey or just starting off. But also on that February sailing was probably the largest number of newer people in their lifestyle journey we have ever met. And we feel like, once again, because it's a little bit shorter, it was a perfect introductory cruise. And so February overall felt a little bit younger and a little bit newer.
Price is also a big difference, and this is kind of to do with the length as well. So if you have a shorter cruise, it's going to be cheaper. If you have a longer cruise, you're on there longer, so it's going to be more expensive. So the February sailing, it's just gradual. So February typically has the lowest price, and then April is a little bit more than that, and then November will be your most expensive price due to the longest amount of days.
One other price difference we've noticed is that Celebrity sailings tend to be a little bit more expensive than Royal Caribbean sailings, and that is because Celebrities are overall a slightly elevated ship. One thing we're going to kind of mention in this area that I think is important is the Bliss Cruise app and its relation to some of the bigger sailings. In the past, on these really large ships that are 7,000 people, it can be very difficult to find people over and over. And the connection and communicating in the past through like the Royal Caribbean app did not work that well. But now the Bliss Cruise app is incredible. You do not have to have the Wi-Fi, you don't have to have the Wi-Fi package to be able to use the Bliss Cruise app. You can message people. It works incredibly. And so now we feel like for people that are maybe on the fence about, is it too big of a ship? Are we going to be able to find people over and over? It's just good to note that now that we have the Bliss Cruise app, it's going to make a massive difference on any size sailing because it's just so much easier to connect with people and stay connected with people and find people throughout these sailings. Really, when it comes to how the ship is organized, we would recommend just watching every single one of our individual reviews because they're going to be so different. The one thing people always seem to ask about is playrooms. All of them have amazing playrooms. There's really no difference. They're going to be set up in different areas of the ship, but they're all going to have multiple playrooms. They're going to have a dungeon. And so no matter what sailing you go on, you're going to have incredible playrooms to use.
Those playrooms are going to be all passengers playroom, a couples only playroom, a dungeon, and an exterior playroom. Bliss is really making a conscious effort to make sure that there are lots of different options and lots of different playrooms so we don't see that changing in the future. With theme nights, there are 2 themes that are always present, and then all of the other themes are going to differ depending on the sailing, but there's always going to be a glow night and there's always going to be a fetish night. Sometimes those are specific themed glow nights, specific themed fetish nights, but those 2 are always constant. I know this is a whole thing about differences, but all the themes are going to be different except for those 2. Typically, there's also a formal night on the April and November sailings, for sure on the November sailings, just because there is enough time for that. On the February sailings, there wasn't a formal night on this past one just because there was only 4 nights. Participation in the theme nights seem to be the same for all of the cruises. It's about 90 to 95% participation, and that can range from very, very low key to very extravagant.
Next, we're going to get into food. It is going to be very similar on all of these ships. It is always Royal Caribbean or Celebrity, which always have some of the top tier food to us. As far as cruise ships go, generally, the Celebrity ships seem to have a slightly elevated, a little bit better food than Royal Caribbean, but once again, in our opinion, they are both really wonderful foods, especially for cruise ship sailings. And they all also have really great late night buffets, which makes a massive difference on cruises like this.
When it comes to accommodations, again, it's going to vary per ship that you're on. So we always recommend, if you want to see what a specific ship looks like, to search your sailings ship and then search that ship tour on YouTube. That way you're able to see creators who have walked through the entire ship where they're able to like film people, because there's not like lifestyle stuff going on. We can't show the ship because there's always people around. At least like we can't show all of it, you know. And the sailings are going to vary ship by ship. It's not always on the same ship. Sometimes they repeat, but sometimes they don't. Because it's always on Royal Caribbean and Celebrity ships, we always think that the accommodations are really, really nice. Celebrity is one step above Royal Caribbean. I believe they're owned by the same company, and then Celebrity is just that, like, a little bit higher tier, so you'll probably find nicer accommodations on the Celebrity ships just due to the class of ship that it's on. And because Celebrity sailings are typically geared more towards adults, you're not going to see those activity accommodations near as much as you'll see on Royal Caribbean ships, such as different slides and like a bigger golf course you'll probably see on a Royal Caribbean ship, or extra slides and a water park, those kinds of things, activities you won't see as much on a Celebrity ship versus a Royal Caribbean ship. And then along with that, it depends on the size of the ship. So the November sailings, you're going to get a lot more of those activities because of the larger ship and the longer sailing. So the Wonder of the Seas ship on Royal Caribbean has a ton, like so many different activities, outdoor activities when it comes to the accommodations.
But that's as long as it's on Royal Caribbean, because some of the November sailings are on Celebrity, and once again, so if it's on Celebrity, you're not going to see as much of slides and things like that. All activities are going to be pretty similar on these. We're not going to go into much detail. I said, once again, watch the reviews that are full on, but we'll give you a few ideas of what some of the different types of activities they have are. There is parties, there's pool games, meet and greets, seminars and workshop, shows, and so many more things. So you're always going to have entertainment options. I said you're able to relax and rest if that's what you want to do, but also have that party atmosphere. And there's just always things going on all of these sailings.
This podcast is brought to you by us, Bella and Jase. If you're going on a vacation, or maybe you have a gift that you want to give your other lifestyle friends and you're looking for lifestyle clothing, we have the best apparel on the market for you. We have not only clothing, bikinis, swimsuits, we have backpacks, tumblers, cups, anything that you can name, we probably have it. You can find that at foreplay.com/shop.
Let's say you're at a party, you're going on vacation, things are moving a little bit slow. Maybe you want some conversation to flow. Maybe you want to move stuff towards play. Well, we have the perfect game for you. It's called Foreplay the Game. It is a digital and
physical lifestyle icebreaker game, and you can find out all about it at fourplay.com/games. That's number 4, OURPLAY.com/games.
If you don't have a lifestyle vacation planned, a resort or a cruise planned, why not? You can join us. You can find that at fourplay.com/playcation. We have not only information about the events and trips that we'll be on this year, but also other options for you as well. And it doesn't cost any extra for you to book through our links, but helps us a lot, helps us continue to be able to make this type of content for you. Now back to the show.
Parties are all going to feel pretty similar in our opinion. The one thing that we did notice was it seemed like on the February sailing, people stayed up later and even went to playrooms later. And it seems that because the sailing is quicker, you're trying to fit almost more vacation into a shorter amount of time. For example, we usually go to bed at around 2:30, maybe 3. Almost every single night we were up till 3:30 at least on that sailing. It seemed like the buffet was busier. It seemed like the party stayed out a little bit longer. People went to playrooms a little bit later just because you have less time. But in general, you are going to have amazing parties on all of the sailings.
Usually on the very last day of really any vacation, especially lifestyle cruise, because it's the very last day, people are getting up early the next day. Typically the last night's party, especially on a 7-night sailing, dwindles out and people are feeling a lot more chill that last day. To us, it seemed on the February sailing, which was the 4-night sailing, more people were out partying later. More people were active on that very last night because you only had the 4 days versus on the 7-night one, you already had the 6 nights to do that. And so then by the 7th night, you're a bit more relaxed or a bit more ready to go back to normal life as much as you can be, right? So whereas 4 nights, it did seem like the parties tend to be a bit more livelier later.
And this also kind of goes into the same type of thing. We've noticed that the times whenever things really peak, and I'm going to go what I mean by this when I explain it, but the times when these sailings peak varies. It seems like on Bliss November, which is generally 7 nights, it's around night 4 that people fully got into cruise mode. People are really starting to make those connections. You see that, hey, we're starting to run out of time a little bit. We don't have much time left, so people really start to go for those connections. Maybe go say hello if you were nervous, whatever it is, but you're starting to get comfortable, really feel like you've acclimated to the ship. Whereas on that April sailing, it's generally night 3-ish that it seems like that happens to us. And it almost felt like night 1 to even night 2 on the February sailing felt like that. It's because you know you have less time, and it felt like to us, this almost mental deadline.
It's like procrastination. When you have a longer amount of time, you have a longer amount of time to procrastinate and to get out of your comfort zone. When you know your time is limited, you don't really have a choice. If you want to make the best out of the time that you have to do it quicker. And so that's what we meant earlier when we were talking about how it seems to be more accelerated. It just is dependent on the amount of time. And I think it's just human nature that we're just trying to get out of our heads and trying to get into that mindset. So when you have a longer time, you're like, oh, I have 7 nights here, so I'm going to take
bed
my
early
time.
tonight.
Yeah,
Like, we'll say hi to them tomorrow. We still have 6 nights left. But if it's day 2 and you say,
there's only 2 nights left, or if you're on day 1, oh my gosh, there's only 3 nights left, and then the last night, like, you don't even know if people are going to be going all out. So then you're trying to do things quicker, or not do things, but you're just trying to make the most out of your time quicker.
It doesn't feel pressuring. This is not something where you feel like you have to do this. It was for us, in our opinion, we just felt this innate thing where we always want to make the most out of these trips, but knowing you have fewer days, there's just this human nature thing, like Bella was saying, that you push yourself a little bit more to maybe go out on a limb or whatever it is to say that hello because you want to make that connection. And it's kind of fun. I like that it changes.
Yeah, it changed how I feel about even the longer cruises, because now that I know how much I can do, like how I don't have to take as much time to work up my nerves to go do something, because I've shown myself that I've done it literally on day 1 or day 2 before. I think that it's going to make future longer sailings for me even better, and it will probably feel even longer because I'm not taking as much time by day 3 or 4 to say, oh, I'm finally in vacation mode.
Yeah, so what we're saying is if you've gone on April or November, book a February too, foreplay.com/cruise, then still go in April and November. So that way you can get what Bella was talking about, where you get a whole new lease on life. You're basically doubling your cruise time. So
Basically.
you're investing in yourself. Foreplay.com/cruise right here. So the show's also going to be pretty similar. The things we tend to see every time, comedians, and then there's generally some sort of spicier shows. Maybe that's a male dancing group, maybe that's a cabaret show, but then the other shows are gonna vary. You might have hypnotists or magicians or all different sorts of things, but those comedians and the kind of spicier shows are going to be on every sailing.
Music generally seems to be the same across all the different cruises. You'll have the main party that has a mix of different music. You're going to have after parties or side, parties kind of branch out with a country club or the EDM club. Those ones are pretty popular. It's just going to vary each night. You have live music as well. So you have a lot of different options.
So next we're going to talk about ports. The ports are obviously going to vary every single time. It's going to be different per sailing. You go to foreplay.com/cruise, you can see where they're going to stop at. But whenever you have the longer sailings, you tend to get a little bit different of ports just because you can go further. But we'd recommend checking out, I said, our website to see what ports you're going to. The biggest difference for us is the amount of sea days that you have. Sea days to us are probably our favorite part about lifestyle cruises. It is very nice to get off the boat. You can go do different excursions. You're going to have all of your typical excursions like you have on vanilla cruise ships, but sometimes they also do island takeovers or things like that, which we highly recommend if they have a takeover to go do one of those. They are such fun excursions. Sometimes they also just have islands where maybe we're the only person on that island and we have some optional options, things like that. We highly recommend getting off the boat, seeing what's going on. But something really good to note is that sea days are a massive thing in our opinion on these cruises. And whenever you have a 7-night sailing, you typically have more sea days. Sea days are a really awesome opportunity to go to the pool, go to those pool parties, talk to people, and make those connections. Whereas whenever you're off the boat, right, everyone disperses. People are going all different places, and so you don't make as many chances to make those connections. And while yes, said the excursions are awesome, what really makes a difference on a lifestyle cruise to us is the people. It's the connections. That's what's different. So having those extra sea days is just really a benefit, and to us and a lot of people, it is one of the best parts about lifestyle cruises.
And with those port days, when you're doing excursions, not everyone's just doing a party excursion, or even if you do, you get on the ship and you're kind of tired after. So then it makes the end of the nights feel a bit different than if it were a sea day when everyone is together. So that is what we're talking about with the difference. Like the energy level feels different on a sea day versus a port day.
You also have, if people have excursions early the next morning and you're getting off the boat, the parties tend to be a little bit less busy because people go to sleep early because they're getting off the boat the next morning. So when you know you have a sea day the next day, people tend to party even longer because everyone can sleep in. You don't have somewhere to be. And so the more sea days, the better in our opinion.
Yeah.
The last category we're going to go to is miscellaneous things. These are pretty much the same on all the sailings, but in this video, we're going to compare everything. But we want to give you a little bit of information. If you've never seen a review about a Bliss Cruise before, just so you have some information. Bliss is fully nude optional. Now, you have to be at least 3 miles away from port when this is going on, but it's completely optional, but it's not also in every area on the ship. You are going to be able to do this at the pool deck, in the playrooms. You're not going to be able to be walking through the hallways or at the main dining being fully nude, but there is fully nude option if that's something you're looking for. There's also now a Bliss loyalty program, which is awesome. You can sign up for free, and as you go on more sailings, or just different perks that you get along the way. Once you get to certain levels, you get a bag with some different goodies in it. You can even get onboard credit and things like that as you go on. And so it's really an awesome program to sign up for. The Bliss Cruise app, like we mentioned earlier, is awesome for communicating and everything, but it's also awesome for the schedule, for all the classes, for seminars, for signing up for everything. It is really a hub for everything you need Bliss Cruise, and that's going to work on all of the sailings. And so the Bliss Cruise app makes a massive difference. Also good to note, alcohol is not included on Bliss Cruise. You can buy a drink package. You can buy drinks individually. It's however you want to do that. But if you want a drink package, it is per cabin. It is not per person. So if I want a drink package, but Bella doesn't. We're in the same cabin. That is not an option. We're both going to have to buy a drink package. So just something good to note.
And that ends our comparison episode about the April and February and November Bliss cruises. Again, if you are wanting specific reviews for a specific sailing, highly recommend to check our channel. We have reviews on all of the Bliss cruises that we've been on. And I think we've been on every single cruise for the last 2 to 3 years. So we have a lot of information out there for you guys. And
those videos, there's also videos on those. So there's videos of the playrooms, there's videos of the dining rooms, there's videos, things like that too. So if you want to see videos, we also recommend checking those out.
We also have vlogged all of our trips as well. You know, we can't show all the parties and all of the crazy stuff that happens, obviously, but you're able to kind of get a little bit of a feel of each sailing, so you can kind of follow us along and see what we've been up to. We talk a lot about our experiences as much as we can, you know, on YouTube. So we can't do like that much. We can't show as much as we want to, obviously, but it does give you an idea. And hopefully we will see you guys on a future Bliss cruise. If you want more information, that is fourplay.com/cruise. That's the number 4OURPLAY.com/cruise. You can find all that information there. And again, if our content helps you out at all and you'd like to help support the channel, we'd greatly appreciate if you would consider booking your cruise through our links. And we also give a full cruise guide as well, like a PDF guide that goes over everything you need to know for a Bliss cruise.
But hopefully that was able to help. So thank you guys so much for listening to that podcast. And we'll go ahead and jump into Bella and Jase's weekly obsessions.
You go first.
I have two. One is we've been rewatching Euphoria. The new season of Euphoria comes out in around a month from the time of filming this. And Euphoria was a show we both really, really enjoyed, but we hadn't seen it in, I don't know, when's the last time it came out? 5 years ago? It seems like forever ago when the last season came out. And so we wanted to rewatch it because we don't remember a lot of things. And I just love Euphoria. And I think the cast is so good. I think it's filmed incredibly. And I just love it. So we've been rewatching that every single night just to catch up. And that has been really fun. And then my other one is I have a video game I really love. I don't play a lot of video games, but there's one called Session Skate Sim, and it is a skateboard video game. And there is a new DLC that came out. Well, it actually came out a while ago. I just wasn't aware. And so there's a new level and some new stuff you can unlock. And yeah, I just love that game, and it's very decompressing, and I don't play very often. But I miss skateboarding sometimes, but I don't want to do it again because, well, I don't want to injure myself. And so I have a video game now, and them having a new DLC is really fun. And so, yeah, that's my two. What are yours?
My first obsession is a book by Rachel Reed. It is part of the Game Changers Heated Rivalry series. Actually, one of our really good friends, or well, a couple, they got from the lifestyle, they got us into watching Heated Rivalry. And so they got me into watching Heated Rivalry. I watched up until episode 3 or 4, and I was like, you have to watch it with me. I got Jase to watch Heated Rivalry with me. And so now we are Heated Rivalry obsessed, and we love Shane and Ilya. Oh my God, I love them so much. And so I read Heated Rivalry with the wife of that couple, and then we decided that the 4 of us were going to read The Long Game together, which is Shane and Ilya's second book, and it's, as of right now, the last book in the Game Changer series, and I am obsessed with The Long Game. It's so sweet, and seeing their relationship just blossom from what it was in Heated Rivalry, and they're so soft in this one. There were multiple times where I just wanted to cry. I didn't fully form tears, but I definitely teared up, and I know that I will be a bawling mess during the show of it whenever it comes out. I believe in 2027, because there's going to be the second season of Heated Rivalry. Starring the 2 actors.
I also love the book, and I feel like the characters are so distinct that I could see every single scene played out so clear in my head.
You have to tell them what you rated it.
I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I thought it was perfect. I thought it was exactly how I would have wanted the next part to go. I loved how it ended. I loved every single thing about it. I had 0 complaints. There's nothing I would change. I loved it. So it's 5-star to me. I would highly recommend, if you liked Heated Rivalry, to go ahead and read it if you want to know the next part of their story, because it made me like them even that much more when I already loved the show and I loved. So yeah, so I gave it 5 stars. So
I gave it 4.5 stars because my 5-star is very
impossible.
Well, not impossible.
I'm just kidding.
It has to really, a story has to very, very much resonate with me personally and change me as a person for it to be a 5-star. I know Jay says that's a 6-star for him. I know I've just very, very. So it's pretty much a 5-star, I guess, but.
Sure, now. And now they're filming a podcast. It's recording a podcast. It's 5-star. There's a 4-star, 4.5 when I asked.
No, not a 4-star. Definitely 4.5. It's like as close to perfect for me as it's like 4.75. It's just for something to be absolutely incredible has to change me and my life, and I have to think about it all the time. And anyways, that's what makes it a 5-star. I just have very high standards. And my other obsession is this pen. I love stationery and pens and handwriting, and I wanted to get into calligraphy and getting into all of these calligraphy pens and using ink and all this, and then I decided, you know what, I don't think I actually want to go into all of it, and but I did get this fountain pen. That's what I meant. Sorry, not calligraphy. Fountain pen, calligraphy pen, and this one's called a Pilot Varsity pen, and it has the fountain head, but you don't have to, fill it with ink and stuff. But you actually can modify it, so I can just add more ink to it. But I love how it writes. It's very different than normal.
Yeah,
but
it's hard.
I really like it, and it's so satisfying to me personally. So that's my other obsession.
Well, nice. Those are fun ones. And thank you guys once again so much for listening to this podcast, and we'll go ahead and hit you with an outro. Bye!
If you'd like to support the show, you can leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to our podcast. All our information will be listed in the show notes below and on our website, fourplay.com. That's number 4, OURPLAY.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we make videos and vlogs about the swinging lifestyle. Head to fourplay.com/YouTube to watch and subscribe. We have the ultimate adult party game for the sexually inclined called Foreplay the Game that's both digital and physical. It's perfect for breaking the ice and spicing up any party. You can find more information at foreplay.com/games. We also have the best swinger lifestyle, kinky, and adult humor clothing and accessories that you can find at foreplay.com/shop. If you're looking to plan a lifestyle destination, booking through our links at foreplay.com/travel really helps support the show and helps us be able to continue to create this type of content for you. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, and more. You can find all our current social media accounts at foreplay.com/socials, and I have an OnlyFans, which you can find at onlyfans.com/BellaLunaVIP. We also have a Facebook group and Discord community and would love for you to join us. You can find the direct links in the show notes below. Lastly, we're on STC and Cassidy at Foreplay, and you can get a free full membership trial by using our link. You can email us at hello@foreplay.com with any questions or comments, or head to foreplay.com/ask. Again, all our information will be listed in the show notes below, and we thank you so much for listening to our podcast. See you in the next one. Bye!